are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am Dylan Larck at You Bullet Tank on the Bird app, and we are here with another episode of the College League Podcast. Me and Mr. Harrison Tarr. Tarr, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great, man. Ready to talk some Auburn ball?
Yep, and as y'all know, it has been a long time coming, but we are finally able to talk after an Auburn football win. And I'm just saying, I got a haircut on Friday. The high school team I was commentating for won. Auburn then won on Saturday, and then Carolina got their first game, first dub of the season. So I'm getting a haircut every Friday. That is the official word. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Right.
But yeah, we are here to talk about Auburn's upcoming game against Vanderbilt for a little bit. Way too early thoughts on that. But before we do that, Hugh Freeze did make some notes on his press conference from yesterday, talking about reacting to what people were saying about the Mississippi State game, and then going into we talk about Vanderbilt. And Tara, I know you have the transcript in front of you. Or anything that really caught your eye?
I mean, I think there's a handful of things. Let's start with the Thorne conversation and the fact that we saw the best game and most impressive game, in my opinion, of Payton Thorne's career to this point. Obviously, I was not able to join the live stream. I was taking one Abigail Lafamina back to the airport Sunday night, so my apologies for my absence. But I thought it was very, very interesting. Not interesting, but like encouraging if you're an Auburn fan. Freeze mentioning that Thorne was protected the best that he's been in any game this season, which I think is objectively true. And then mentioned that, playing with tempo and taking shots downfield, which, Hugh claims to be what Thorne's most comfortable doing, helped a lot with the quarterback play and the receiver's confidence for that matter. And there was a lot of talk post this game about how proud Hugh was in this wide receivers. He said in his post game press conference immediately after the game on Saturday, and then reiterated again today about the fact that, this group still needs work. But he's really proud of how much they've really kind of finally been able to ream what they've sown in terms of the work that they put in. And I mean, collaboratively, it was clearly Auburn's best offensive, display in performance against an SEC opponent and really a P5 opponent to this point this year. And I thought it was, fascinating, obviously. I'm going to backtrack for a second. I guess it's not backtrack. This is absolutely what he was discussing in today's presser. I guess yesterday as the show's coming out, the controversy surrounding, a lot of people, I guess controversy is a wild word, but like the discussion and narrative about play calling in the second half and not being aggressive and not, really taking shots down the field. And he pointed out that Auburn was backed up in its own territory a lot on the second half of the game. And that had a lot to do with the fact that Mississippi State was plugging holes in the run game and obvious run situations. You didn't want to take shots and down the field that could result in turnovers and momentum swings. And I get that. I know a lot of people, myself included, did kind of ask what in the Gus Malzahn's going on in the second half of this ball game. And there was certainly, in my opinion, an element of play not to lose, which I'm never really a huge proponent of, but it worked out on Saturday. And you were able to kind of just not make mistakes and not put your quarterback in a position to make mistakes, which I mean, you can say what you want about only getting 30 good minutes of Payton Thorne. You did not put him in a position to make mistakes in the second half. And at that point, when you're playing an opponent like Mississippi State and what we're going to talk about against Vanderbilt coming down the stretch this week, when you're playing an opponent like that, when you're up and you're in control, and Auburn was firmly in control of this ball game pretty much from the jump. Let's just call a spade here. You do it. I'm okay with this in terms of let's not make silly mistakes to let them not win the ball game, but us lose the ball game. And that's really what it comes down to. When you're playing a team like that and you're firing on all cylinders, like Auburn was in the first half, you don't let them come back and win that ball game. You lose that ball game in that situation. And so I was fine with that, Dylan. And really, I was. I didn't have a ton of beef there. Praises to Connor Lew. Hugh mentioned that in his conference today, either today or yesterday. I'm sorry, they're all kind of blurring together. I kind of read one, listened to the other, and they're all kind of same headspace. A lot of good things. A lot of good things that Auburn can build on. And he also mentioned, and we'll talk a minute about the Vanderbilt matchup, but about his, not overlooking an opponent, which is so important. It's got to be the theme of the week. But ultimately, and Hugh said it himself, that Mississippi State was not perfect, but they were solid. And I think that's, obviously there's a little coach speak element there because you never want to talk down on a guy like Zach Arnett. I'll do it all day long. I don't think he's suitable to be a head coach. That's neither here nor there. I thought Auburn did a great job, and I thought Hugh Freeze did a great job kind of backing himself up and doubling down on things that he's kind of been preaching. And I know that a lot of Auburn fans wanted more, and you want to see a boat race in the second half. I get it. You want to see an offensive clinic. And in the first half, Auburn put one on. There were moments during the game. I'm sorry, Dylan, I'm going a little long because I wasn't here for Sunday night. I'm giving your vocal cords a rest.
You're fine.
There were some moments in the second half of Saturday's game where I, like lots of other Auburn fans, was deja vuing a little bit. It's the last time Mississippi State came to Jordan-Hare Stadium, but there was a different aura and in a different response. Not from the fans, because a lot of fans were still unhappy because God knows why. I don't know. Be happy about the fact that Auburn won a game for the first time since September, but at the same time, it didn't feel like Auburn was losing control of the ball game. And there were some situations where, like, I really don't want them to score a touchdown here. And you're looking, you're like, you're still at 14, right? Like, I get it. You don't want them to build momentum. I understand all those factors. But ultimately, to back up what Hugh Freeze said, it is make sure that we protect this lead. There does come a point in a situation like that where you're like, we have been so mistake heavy this year. We're so thin on bodies. How do we make sure we don't get banged up? How do we put ourselves in the best position to chew the shit out of the clock? And Auburn did a good job of that, and not leave them with a ton of time to climb back in this thing, and let our defense keep doing what our defense does. I really don't have a ton of problems with that, and I thought him doubling down on Monday was fine. That might be a hot take with a lot of people. I thought that was fine, and then. Dylan, I'm going to go on one more tangent, and then I'm going to let you open up here to the presser. I do want to talk a little bit about the quarterback situation, like in terms of the quarterback management. Hugh Freeze praising Payton Thorne was great in terms of like instilling confidence in your quarterback. I do think that a lot of Auburn fans need to give Hugh Freeze some credit. Not because I'm sitting here truthing for Payton Thorne, not because I'm saying, oh, well, Robbie would have done better, whatever narrative you want to push. I don't care. That's not what I'm doing. What I do want to say is Auburn played one quarterback the entire game. One quarterback the entire game. And that is all Auburn. A lot of Auburn fans have been begging for, is letting someone get in the rhythm. Tell you what, when Payton Thorne got in the rhythm, Payton Thorne looked like a good football player on Saturday. He truthfully looked like a good football player. And if that's what you can get when you let the guy get into a rhythm, Dylan, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to hurt any Robbie Ashford truthers' feelings, but let it happen. Let the best form of an athlete that can help you win the best, or help you win the most, take over if that's what you believe as a head coach. And he kind of doubled down and had his own back, had his quarterback's back. And there were some Robbie Ashford packages. This is what this should have looked like from the jump. And I was okay with this, guys. I really was. If this is signs of things to come with Payton Thorne, I'm not overreacting and assuming that it is, but if this is signs of things to come when you do give him the keys to the kingdom and say, this is yours, then you're in great shape coming down the stretch. That's my immediate takeaway. I had a handful of things I wanted to touch base on there, Dylan. Sorry, my bad.
I mean, Tarr, you're going to hurt my feelings. So in case you don't remember, whenever we did the two players need to step up, I said literally any quarterback who plays.
I said Hugh Freeze.
And Jerk Center, who definitely stepped up big time in that game.
I asked for a legacy game and I received.
And I mean, if you look at the graphic, outside of the typos I made on the other two posts, mine literally had Payton Thorne, Robbie Ashford, and Holden Gurner. I don't care who's starting. I see someone to step up in that room. And I got that from Payton Thorne. I got exactly what I've been wanting to say from Payton Thorne. My issue with it is the same as I would have if Robbie Ashford came in and played the same way. Can we see it down the stretch like we saw against Mississippi State?
Sure. And you need to see it against every team for 60 minutes. And I get that, the whole 30-minute argument. I've heard that a lot, and that's okay. Like I said, I understand the what in the gut smells on. I get it. I did say that out loud.
Yeah, and I mean, we did only have one drive in the third quarter, and then we got backed up. But
that
I see both sides, because I think you can also throw the ball
absolutely
aggressive.
100%. But to your credit, you got one quarterback all game, and that's what Auburn fans have been begging for. And it's almost like, Dylan, we were right not about Payton Thorne, not about Robbie Ashford, not about a specific person, but about let someone play football. Just let them play football.
Let one guy in.
And let them continue to play football. Let them get themselves out of mistakes. I thought Payton Thorne played more free than he has all year. In terms of not reckless and abandoned, but like he played with the most poise that we've seen in any game, including the non-cons all year. in terms of this is it. I'm playing a big boy opponent. The keys are mine. I know that there is a leash, but I'm going to play my game of football. And he played this game of football against that Mississippi State defense, which, if you look coming down the stretch, should encourage you.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Even like what Freeze said in the Monday presser, we saw the most balanced performance from this Auburn team. I mean, you had some chunk plays given up by the defense. That's going to happen at times, especially whenever Mississippi State just chewed the crap out of the clock in the third and fourth quarter. That's going to happen. But you saw a defensive performance that was very, very well done by Ron Roberts, and then you saw a very well executed offense by Hugh Freeze. And I will say, based on the press conferences, it does sound like Hugh Freeze made a lot of the executive decisions.
He was calling plays.
He definitely was calling the plays the entire game. At least that's what I'm not going to confirm or deny it, but it's definitely what it sounded like.
I'll tell you, my wholehearted belief with no background traction, and I'm not saying this, y'all don't go running around spreading rumors that I have insider knowledge, because I don't. But my opinion is Hugh Freeze was calling the majority of the plays, especially big situation plays. Something else I thought that Hugh mentioned that was pretty interesting and applicable certainly to Auburn's victory over Mississippi State is, quote, I absolutely want to play with tempo, but can you always? No. But when we have the opportunities to, we should be ready to, and that's where we've gotten away from. Spot on, Hugh. Nailed it. I know people are really have him under a microscope in press conferences. I'm just gonna be the one to say he did well today. I understand that he rebutted against friend of the program, Jacob Goins. You caught us straight there, man. You asked a good question. And they got defensive. It happens. But I digress. Holy shit, the tempo's here. Like, it's amazing when you install the brand of offense that this head coach has been known for his offensive mind, wanted to install. Granted, we're not seeing all the RPOs that you want to see, whatever, you can get nitpicky. But when you install like an up-tempo element, a significant element, not just a here and there, we've got a little bit of momentum, let's capitalize now, a consistent commitment to going up-tempo when the opportunity presents itself, good things happen when that's your identity and that's how you build the team. Props. I mean, I'm just going to say it. Props to Hugh Freeze for that. I mean, I thought that served tremendously to Auburn's benefit. Sometimes you get stuffed on an up-tempo, whatever. But if that's your brand and that's how your guys practice and you're able to execute that on the field and you're actually able to implement that, hell yes, let's do it.
My favorite stat from this game, too, is the fact that Auburn and Peyton Thorne were able to pass the ball to 11 different receivers, which is something that we have just been waiting. And of course, some of those were the running backs. Jeremiah Cobb got the last touchdown of the game.
What a random touchdown, by the way. When I saw that was Cobb in the backfield and then he wound up catching that, I was like, I looked at Billy sitting next to me and said, dude, that is the most random, did not have that on my bingo card moment.
We've not seen, I don't think we've seen Cobb in the same backfield as Thorne all season, because Cobb is is with the package of Robbie.
Well, when your offensive staff tells your head coach, we all agree we're going one quarterback this week, this is what happens.
And I can't wait to the end of the season to where we get to grade all the newcomers as a whole. Because, I mean, you got Kayan Lee, Connor Lew, Jeremiah Cobb, just Keldrick Falk. Just 4 instant impact freshmen as soon as they're able to get in. And, of course, they're going to have their times where they look like true freshmen. But I think for the most part, we've seen Hugh Freeze just turn true freshmen into just,
solid.
I got these guys for 2 more years.
Very solid for given their experience. Very solid.
Exactly.
And playing above expectations in some circumstances. Look at Keldrick Falk. Look at Jeremiah Cobb. And Kindly's dog, but that's neither here nor there. Also, shout out my boy Nehemiah. He had a great game. He had it. He had a good. Just throwing that one out there.
Shout out to James. Hopefully, he has another year of eligibility left in him.
Right.
He might need it.
Also, good to hear that Marcus Harris and Xavion Miller both should be good to go against Vanderbilt. So that was really, really positive. Other than that, I mean, that was kind of my takeaways from his press conference today. I know that it's not like a win or lose, but you can lose those. And I thought Hugh did well this week. It's easier to do it after a win. It's a hell of a lot easier for us to talk about it after a win. I think that a lot of people kind of thought we got our feelings hurt when Robbie Ashford wasn't the one balling out on Saturday. This is all I'm going to say about that. One, I want whoever's going to be able to help Auburn win the most to play quarterback. And 2, coming at us for our takes, bro. My family's good. My beautiful girlfriend and the love of my life is good. I got food on the table. I don't give a rat's ass.
I will say, you can ask my girlfriend how I was reacting about Peyton Thorne playing well, and it was a lot of okay, Peyton,
Yeah.
okay.
Can we talk about like Peyton Thorne is visibly improved? I guess maybe
He is. This is the most confident I've seen him play
granted
all
one
year.
game. Granted one game.
Granted.
But for me specifically, decision making on when to pull the ball down and run. I mean, I think the decision making is significantly better. He's not trying to make things happen downfield as much as he's like, okay, I can take off for 8, 9, 10 yards. I can. I don't have to try to do it every play like I did against, call to Sanford, right? Whatever. But I can. And I have the liberty to do that. And then we can get right back up, line up, change play, kill, right? No problem. I was impressed. He looked like a field general. Like he looked like he was running an offense, which is
exactly what he needs to do.
Exactly. That's such a big time win, and I think that's going to transition nicely. I'm good to roll over to grades if you are, Dylan. Sorry,
ready to stop talking about Mississippi State and get on to the next opponent. But
sorry, guys. For those of you guys who are listening on Sunday, I'm sorry. I needed to get that out in a celebratory way, guys. Let's all be happy. All right, everyone, put some smiley faces in the comments because Auburn won a football game, and the outlook right now should be way more positive than it was last week on like the rest of the season. In my opinion. So we'll go there.
I mean, I believe Auburn's favored in their next in these next 3 games. No, Arkansas's favored. Never mind.
2 of the next 4.
Yeah, which I think the Arkansas game is very winnable.
If you just play the numbers, then you go to a bowl game. Didn't go to one last year. Also, Hugh Freeze 5-2 in bowl games. Who knows? Come on, man.
And with that, let's move on from the last Bulldog on the schedule. Granted, we don't know who we're going to play in the bowl game yet. I don't think there's any other Bulldog mascots out there in the world that I can think of. D1 FBS. Oh, I don't want to play. Do not give us another conference championship winning G5 team again, please. But Tar, you want to kick it off first with the grades?
Yeah, sure. I'll go offense. I'm a good professor. I think I'd have a 5.0 on freight rate my professor, maybe a 4.9. I don't know. I'll ruffle some feathers. I'm going to go A-, which is high. I know. But I'm going to take into consideration improvement and identity. Holy shit, it looked like this team had an identity. So that's I'm going to go A-. Defense, still going to go an A. I mean, you still got to get a little more help from your offense in terms of keeping those points off the board because you do need to kind of, keep away. And then overall, Dylan, you picked up an SEC win. You looked like you had an identity. Your defense is playing good football. Outlook's good. I'm going A. A-, I think. I think A- because wish list is still there. But yeah. I like A-.
I'm probably a little bit more of a stricter grader than you are.
Well, you're the teacher here, so.
Yeah, I am the teacher here. But I'm not that far off from you. Offense, I got a B+.
Okay.
The second half is going to really kind of bring down the grades, kind of like whenever you're doing so well throughout the first part of the semester, and then the last part, you kind of like senioritis gets to you, and it's
right.
Give up in the last half, but it's not their fault. B+. Offense in the first half looked really, really good. Everything was going well. Second half came along, kind of got slowed down, and one drive that you got in the third quarter, and then you got backed up the rest of the way. But I'm still of the pretext that you can throw the ball without being aggressive and get yourself out of the situations.
Sure.
With I don't want to say better play calling, but yeah, better play calling than just running the ball up the middle. Defense, also gonna give it a B+. Chunk plays in the second half. You won the game by 14, but I definitely thought the game probably should have been won by a larger margin. Chunk plays given up in the second half. Mississippi State just kind of tearing down the defense, but huge plays in the second half to kind of stop them from scoring and getting a momentum. So I guess I'm a B+ for me, and overall it's gonna be just an overall B+. So solid grades. I think it's my highest overall grade I've given since Sanford.
I've never given a grade for anything this high. Ever. I haven't. I guess maybe I'm feeling nice, or maybe I'm just on the side of like, it's up. I really truly believe that the perspective on the remainder of this football season is up.
You back
And
up?
and I think that a lot of Auburn fans, if you're not in that camp yet, you either should be now or will be after this weekend. Because we're about to talk here about our way too early thoughts on Vanderbilt and how I think Auburn stacks up quite nicely. But before we do so, I'm going to remind everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell right here on the College Loop channel on YouTube. Make sure you give us 5 stars, thumbs up, smiley face, whatever it is, on whatever streaming platform makes you happy that you listen to the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you drop your comments. You can go ahead and start dropping those Auburn Vanderbilt score predictions. Never too early. No problem. We can go with, remember, if you are the closest to the score, do we have the closest to the score on?
Yes, we do. I do have that up. Closest guy was Game Day in the South at GameDay_South. He got the closest one because he got it spot on. 27-13, Auburn
Pretty
wins.
damn impressive.
I thought so long it was going to be me. I was like sitting there waiting. I was like, it's going to be me. I get to shout myself out on the show.
Congratulations for Game Day of the South, dude. That's hardcore.
Exactly.
Would you like to be my bookie this week?
that field goal, the extra field goal they got really took it from me because I put 27-10.
Yes. So Dylan brought up this great point, and congratulations to Game Day South for the exact score prediction. We'll throw up your score predictions on the show, so make sure you go ahead and drop those now. Give us your thoughts on the quarterbacks and in terms of how pleased you were with Payton Thorne and sticking to one quarterback throughout the game was this nice, refreshing. And we're ready to hear about you guys. Give us your grades and how you're feeling about the rest of the season. Is Auburn going to win game number 12? How do you feel right now? I'll ask you. That's going to be my question for the comments. Does Auburn win game number 12? And I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts right now.
Or does Auburn get 12 wins this season?
If we're extending the season, maybe. Anywho. And also, before we get into our way too early thoughts about Vanderbilt, if you've not already picked up your very own Feel and Loopy t-shirt, shout out John Conley, by the way. His delivered today. Really, really excited for Mr. Conley to have a College Loop or Poor Podcast Network.
James Barnett is on the way.
James is on the way. That's right. Thank you guys for bearing with the shipping. I know that the whole shipping situation is never fun for literally anything, so we appreciate you guys for that. But make sure you purchase your very own College Loop or Poor Podcast Network, easy for me to say. Co-branded t-shirt comes in 5 different colorways, most comfortable shirt you ever own. Go to www.thewarreport.com, pick up your very own. If you don't feel like typing in the search bar, neither do we. We put it in the description for all of our shows, and you can pick up your very own. 10 out of 10 Auburn fans recommend the College Loop or Report co-branded Feelin' Loopy t-shirt. Once you get your shirt, make sure you use hashtag Feelin' Loopy when you post that selfie of yourself, your dog, your best friend. It's not Halloween anymore. I guess it's Halloween today, so it's use the skeleton. I don't know if you're into like a turkey for Thanksgiving. If you got a turkey you put in your front yard, if you're one of those people that decorates before Christmas, put it on your Christmas tree, put it on your Christmas list,
or use it as like a baking sheet.
Yeah,
it's multi-purpose.
That's right. Yeah. Put it on
use
your
it
Christmas
for gift
list.
wrap.
Yeah, it's almost the holiday season. So
gift wrap your Feelin' Loopy shirt with your own other Feelin' Loopy shirt.
There's absolutely not a sale for Black Friday, but pick one up on Black Friday if you feel so inclined to get one for those Auburn fans in your life. All right. Way too early thoughts for Auburn at Vanderbilt. 2:30 Central Time kickoff this Saturday, correct?
Yeah, 3. I think it's 3.
Is it 3 on the nose?
I believe it is 3.
Okay.
I'll got back-to-back 3 p.m. kicks, but not
cool.
to spoil the
cool.
2
so 3
from now.
Yeah, that's okay. 3 p.m. kick at Vanderbilt in Nashville. Know a lot of Auburn fans that are going to be there. If you're going to be there, come say hey. I will be around. Daniel Larck will be around. So make sure you guys come swing by and say hey to us.
Tickets quick because there's only 28,000 spots.
Yeah, those tickets were just not cheap at all. Like they were really expensive for no reason. And I was like, I'm paying this for Vanderbilt football. But anyways, I digress. Let's talk about why I would be offended that I'm paying that for Vanderbilt football, and why I think, and I assume Dylan that you think that this matchup plays favor to Auburn heavily. One Auburn home game, in my opinion. I think it's just an Auburn road home game, as pretty much any major team that plays Vanderbilt is. It's an excuse for everyone to go to Nashville. I'm going to break down some numbers. Wait, do you want to pull numbers? Do you already have numbers in front of you?
I have the Vandy stats, yes.
Okay, I'll let you go and break down numbers because I've got them in front of me too, but I know you're the number guy, so I'll let you break down where Vanderbilt stands in terms of how Auburn can really, really exploit this Vanderbilt defense and hold that offense to a minimal.
Yeah, so Vanderbilt currently is at 2-7 as a record, 0-5 in the SEC. They've played some close ones, but not a lot. The ones you're going to think about the most is a 17-point loss to Georgia, but last week lost 33-7 to Ole Miss. Also have a 38-14 loss to Florida. Also have a 38-21 loss to Missouri. And some losses to Wake Forest, UNLV, and a close win over Hawaii. This team is very much not a good team. but Vanderbilt always finds a way under Clarkley to be a little scrappy. Don't know if AJ Swan is going to be healthy enough to play, so they're going to be working with their, I
Still
think,
listed as day to day.
yeah. So kind of going to go off with Ken Seals as a starter for right now. Veteran guy. He started there his freshman year, but he kind of just stays as a backup behind AJ Swan. AJ Swan, just an awesome quarterback who just does not get the love that he deserves just because he plays at Vanderbilt. Kind of a balanced rushing attack. They have two guys who have like 66 and 65 carries and around the same. This is a team that's going to try to burn clock and try to make you play their brand of football. Also going to be looking out for Will Shepherd and Jaden McGowan. If you don't know who Will Shepherd is, he is probably one of the best wide receivers in the SEC, but he plays on Vanderbilt, so he doesn't get any love. Kind of like Jordan Matthews a few years back. Everyone forgets about Jordan Matthews on Vanderbilt. And Jaden McGowan. Holy Jaden McGowan. If you've not watched Jaden McGowan play, you are missing out. This dude is a playmaker. He is fast as he might be the fastest guy in the SEC. And I am not sugarcoating that. He might be the fastest guy in the SEC. Auburn, I think talent-wise, it's all in their favor. Don't really know if I saw someone like wager that the quarterbacks kind of favor Vanderbilt. I don't think that's true. I think it's kind of a toss-up. If AJ1 plays, toss up. If Ken Seals plays, I'm going to give it a Thorne. If he can, going off the pretext that he could continue this play throughout the, at least this week. But I mean, overall, it does favor Auburn. Auburn is favored. I think they're a 12.5-point favorite. But overall,
first time Auburn's been a double-digit favorite in an SEC game since 2020.
Against who?
I think Mississippi State. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess we won that game, 2020.
Last game of Gus Malzahn.
Woo. But yeah, Auburn is very much favored in this game for good reason. This Vanderbilt team is scrappy, but I don't think they're scrappy enough to win games like they were last year.
Well, I'm glad to let you go first here, Dylan, because actually the numbers we were pulling really don't matter because they are not the same at all. But I wanted to point out a couple other things, just looking on average for Vanderbilt. As a team, if you look at their play style, this really, really, really tailors to serve toward Auburn's defense. Averaging 242.9 yards a game through the air, just 92.8 on the ground, 19 passing touchdowns, just to 9 rushing touchdowns. That plays benefit, I think, entirely to the Auburn defense. Not that they've not been surprising in all aspects, truth to be told, but certainly strength still in that secondary, and not going to knock on the outstanding work and that Auburn second level of their defense. When you look on the other side, in terms of what they give up, this is where it gets interesting. 174.4, so call it 174 rushing yards a game to opponents. Obviously, tailors nicely to Auburn, but they're also averaging 262.3, call it 262 a game through the air to opponents, which is interesting. I say that, and Dylan, are you muted for a reason?
I was coughing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were going to do some other research and typing on your typity type. Anyways, I thought it was interesting because this is another opportunity for Payton Thorne to really get his feet underneath him in terms of continuing to establish that identity and continuing to go up tempo and also mixing in the run effectively. This Vanderbilt defense is just not good. It's not. They're getting outscored by opponents. I quite literally cannot do that math in my head. A lot to not a lot. I think it's that math translates to like 33 touchdowns to 28 touchdowns, but they're getting outscored by a zillion. And that's just on offense. Like, let's not forget that they're turning the ball over and allowing defensive touchdowns.
I can do that research for you.
Yeah. On multiple occasions throughout the year. I did the math, by the way, Dylan. I can do quick adding like that. But to that point, this is a great opportunity for Hugh and company and Thorne and company, rather, to really get their feet underneath them and continue to establish that identity that they established against Mississippi State. 4 quarters of it would be nice. If you can get up big in the first half and keep Vanderbilt at bay, I think you're in great shape, right? I think Auburn wins this game comfortably in the first place. I do think they cover, and we'll talk about that later in the week when we have the Vandy Hustler sports editor on the show for our pregame show on Friday evening, which we'll talk about after the show, by the way, Dylan. We need to chat about that, but that's neither here nor there. Also an opportunity for this Auburn defense to just do what they do and stay healthy. Don't have stupid injuries, but I think that this tailors so nicely, Dylan, and it rolls really nicely off that Mississippi State win. This is, I'm not going to say a time to get complacent, not a time to overlook an opponent, but this is a really strong opportunity to begin that final stretch, even though I consider Mississippi State the beginning of that final stretch of the regular season that could really put Auburn in an interesting situation come game 12, like I mentioned earlier today. So let's keep it moving, Dylan. I know that you're about to pull some numbers for me. He's got his fingers put up, so I'm going to try to riff for just a second here, folks. While Dylan pulls these numbers, make sure to give us your thoughts. Give us score predictions for Auburn Bandy. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Dylan appears ready.
All right. Based on scoring defense, scoring offense, Vanderbilt is losing games by an average of 34-25.
Oh, that's nice.
Granted, that is like using them when they played UNLV and Wake Forest and
Right.
and Hawaii. So, yeah, I mean, but still, that's like a 9-point difference. So
Still a trap game by all definitions. Auburn's got a handful of trap games coming down the stretch, and that's something you got to be weary of.
Yeah,
but also
Alabama's a trap game.
That's right. A ton of opportunities, and it really continues here. It started with Mississippi State. It continues here. Get hot. Gives Auburn fans a reason to get excited, and we'll talk about that coming down the stretch of this week about what we think that could correlate to. But I'll go ahead and spoil for you guys a little bit. I am extremely high on the remainder of this season.
Yeah, maybe you said some things to me that I think maybe you're might be taking a little.
I think Auburn wins. I'll go ahead and say it right now. I think Auburn wins 8 games this year. I don't know where the 8th win comes from. I don't know where. I don't know. I don't know if that's game 12. I don't know if that's game 13.
Hear me out.
No, we don't need to talk about your actual crack smoking logic, but I do.
There's a chance Auburn goes to the SEC championship.
There's also a chance that I could wake up tomorrow and hit the lottery. So, anyways, mathematically, I'd have to be interested to see how much more unlikely I am to win the lottery than Auburn to win the SEC West, just out of 50-50 game probabilities, and then factor in FPI and all that other stuff.
Your math is way easier to figure out than what my
situation looks like.
Yeah.
And I think the numbers would be so similar.
Yeah, probably. Because that you need LSU to beat Alabama. Then you need Alabama just to lose out. Then you need LSU to lose out after that. Then you need Ole Miss to lose out, and then you need Auburn to win out. Then you need, I think, dear Lord. Also, there's also the world where Auburn could play Missouri in the SEC championship.
A&M also would have to lose out.
A&M would need to lose out too. That's right.
Which
sucks because they play LSU.
So it's mathematically impossible.
All right, so ties come back. But hear me out. Missouri has a chance to go to the SEC championship, but we'll get to that.
Their path is clear as day, but yes, that's neither here nor there. Let's keep it rolling, and Dylan talk about a couple of pickups a couple of recognitions for Auburn football this week.
Yes, of course. Auburn had 2 SEC Players of the Week on a position group that we were not expecting to see at all. Gunner Britton won Co-Offensive Player of the Week, and of course, Connor Lew won himself a nice little Freshman of the Week award. Connor Lew had himself a really great game overall. Only real downside to his game was on that last drive of the game where the ball came off of his butt, and it was a fumbled snap. But other than that, overall, just a great overall game from this offensive line. Well deserved. We've been waiting for this offensive line to play as well as they did against Mississippi State, and it showed. Not a single sack given up. The other side of the line, not a single sack at all. But the bigger highlight is the fact that this offensive line did not give a single sack, and that's due to Gunner Britton and Connor Lew absolutely housing Mississippi State defensive linemen.
Yeah, you nailed it. You covered it. So. And then Auburn and Archie, you spoiled this one earlier, Dylan. They're going to kick it 4.
Or 3 for the people in the Lord's time zone, the Central time zone.
I agree so wholeheartedly. Central time zone's so much better. I'm sorry, guys. I get mixed up because I live in the Eastern. But Central, random tangent. My hot take of the week. Put this in the quote graphic column when you're listening. Central time zone is infinitely better and more superior to every other time zone on planet Earth.
I was talking to one of Lauren's friends, said the mountain time zone is better than Central.
Yeah, that's really cool for them.
I will say
dozens of people that live in mountain time.
There's an opinionated rant that I almost put in the show, but I know you probably don't want to do it for time's sake. But it was more about the students leaving at halftime.
Yeah, I think we'll just be positive today. Let's just be positive.
Yeah,
because that one was a little disappointing.
Well, Tar, I got a very, very awesome positive note to tell you. Huh?
Huge positive.
Huge positive. Auburn no longer has 2 national championships. They also don't have 3 national championships. They also don't have 4 national. Auburn now has 5 national championships that we have claimed behind the scenes. We have the 1913, which I am of the pretext of pre-World War II. I don't really care for it. And I'll stay true to that, but it's 5. They also have 1957, which of course is the one that we already have posted up everywhere. 83. So Bo Jackson now has a national championship under his resume. 1993, the one that we didn't get to play in regardless because of some NCAA violations, but they gave it to us anyways. And of course, 2010, the Cam Newton year. And in case you're not keeping count, that is 5. Technically, Auburn, there's a 6th one Auburn could claim, 04. So Cohen, get on that. Give us 6. But with Auburn having 5 natties, Tar, you know what that means?
What?
That means Auburn has more national championships than Georgia, Georgia Tech, LSU, Texas, Clemson, Florida, Florida State, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Penn State. A coagulation of teams that me and you can just collectively do not like.
Lovely. I'm so glad to hear that.
Hang the banners, put them up everywhere. We have 5 natties.
Hang the banners for the Natties and hang the banners for the Auburn basketball victory over Furman in their top secret exhibition. We're talking Auburn basketball right here on the College Loop. I'm switching gears because Janai Broome and Denver Jones had themselves a day. Allegedly. We don't know this. All right. Listen,
we have to go off of some tweets.
It's top secret. And Denver Jones and Janai Broome went for 18 apiece. And Auburn whooped up on Furman, who, might I remind you, upset Virginia in this past year's NCAA tournament and is projected to win SoCon this year. Not a powder puff game like by any stretch of the imagination. This should be like a Q2 win in the regular season. This would be a quad 2 win. That's awesome. That is fantastic news. Also, most importantly, Bruce Pearl said that he was very, very encouraged by the team collaborative effort and really having a team focus and share the ball. And kind of all having good chemistry, which was pretty much like the gist of his statement. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And he was happy with the win. So if BP's happy about it, I'm happy about it.
I think the only like corrective thing he wanted to make about this game was that he wants to find like a true like third threat as at point guard behind Aiden and Trey Donaldson, which I don't know who he would have to do that on this roster right now.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that would shake out.
Because who's after Denver at the 2?
That would be Katie Johnson, yes.
So you don't really have Leor Berman. Berman at the 1.
Yeah, known ball handler Leor Berman.
But yes, Auburn season does start. Technically, well, on the 9th, I believe, is the first game of this, like official game of the season, right?
Yes, November 9th, Auburn will take on
Baylor
on a neutral site in North Dakota, because of course. Also, player to watch this year. I'm high on SEMO. I'm high on Chris Moore. I'm
very high on this whole team.
I'm high on this whole team as well, but I'm very interested to see where Chris Moore fits in. If we're going to see SEMO
and Tarr, I gotta be honest, man. Tomorrow, my heart's gonna be torn. I got the exhibition game between the team that I got my bachelor's from, the team I'm getting my master's from.
I know.
I don't know who I'm gonna be rooting for. It's gonna be the Auburn Tigers, but it's gonna hurt to watch AUM get absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, they're getting destroyed.
But we can actually talk about this game because those stats can be open to the public. Possibly.
Those stats will absolutely be open to the public. Just won't be broadcast. I wish they were, though, because now like Tennessee and Michigan State played a preseason like scrimmage and it was broadcast, and that was awesome. It was cool. They mic'd up the coaches and had interviews in the middle of the game.
You also want to keep this even more positive? Alabama lost their scrimmage to Wake Forest.
Guys,
I love basketball.
Guys, barn up. UAT down.
I could not imagine not being able to say that I won my scrimmage game.
Hang the banner. I told you. Hang the banner. Speaking of Auburn basketball, let's talk Auburn women's hoops for just a second here. They are actively, as we're recording.
They just won.
Just won over West Georgia. What was the final on that?
77-49.
77-49 over West Georgia. And we think maybe, possibly, we know the starting five for Auburn women's basketball. If you go based upon the scrimmage, which looks a lot like Janiyah Mingo-Young, Caitlin Duhon, Sydney Shaw, honestly, Scott Grayson, and Savannah Scott. So a mixture of returners and something I'm really, really interested in seeing here is the 3-guard system. You've got, honestly, Scott Grayson, Sydney Shaw, and Caitlin Duhon all in there. Caitlin kind of playing a 3, but interested to see. That's a really good shooting team on a good night. And usually those 3 can put together somewhere in the range of 15 made 3-pointers.
And let's not forget, Auburn, Coach Jay got girls who can rebound.
Yeah, well, and that's why you've got Mingo Young, and that's why you got Janiyah
And Savannah Scott.
And Savannah Scott. You've got 4s and 5s, and truly established this is your role. Like, we have forwards, you have your 5s. It's not like, and to put it, for those of you guys who don't watch Auburn women's basketball, when you should, but to put it into kind of comparison, you don't have to ask anyone to kind of play that Janiyah Broome stretch 4 role. You have that that assigned. Actually, we have a 5. We have a couple of bigs that can play 5s and can play stretch 4s if need be. But you're stretching the other way, which is like nice, a nice perk to have. Very, very high on that team. And be interested if that's the starting 5 going into game 1. I am not upset, Dylan. I think I'm pretty.
I feel pretty confident.
I feel good about that in terms of mixing in shooters and being able to rebound. And honestly, Scott Grayson and Sydney Shaw are 3-level scorers. So I mean,
and their first game is
the day after Auburn men's basketball.
So the 10th. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember exactly who they're playing.
They're playing. Oh my gosh! Hi, I have it in my notes. Where is it?
I keep one. I know they played Georgia Tech this year, but I don't think it's Georgia Tech.
Is Jacksonville State first? I didn't want to sound stupid.
Access to the internet is a crazy thing that we should definitely take advantage of.
Columbus State in their second exhibition that's free admission, and then
Jacksonville State on the 6th.
Okay, I almost said Columbus State, but I did not think that was going to be actually game 1. I did think it was Jacksonville State. So they'll play Jacksonville State on Monday, November 6th. That'll be on SEC Network if you guys want to check that one out. Also, go to women's basketball. Just go watch women's basketball.
And here we go. Baylor's on November 7th.
That's right.
So, yeah, course correction there. Live on the College Loop.
Yeah, literally. I mean, Auburn women's basketball's got a tough non-con slate too, so that's gonna be a lot to talk about.
They both do, but
yeah,
Auburn
it's not
maybe
easy.
Not as hard as we thought it was because USC.
USC allegedly losing their scrimmage. What the hell? That's wild. Anyways,
I love the allegedly. You could just say like,
yeah, they definitely lost their scrimmage. Okay. Auburn soccer is moving on to the SEC tournament, Dylan. This is not a drill. This is something real that happened. Auburn defeated Tennessee 2-1 in Pensacola on Sunday evening. That game wound up getting delayed because LSU in Kentucky went to PKs after double overtime. So that was long and took forever. But they're going to take on number 10 Arkansas. Again, 10th ranked Arkansas at 5 p.m. tonight as the show is coming out. Mind you, Auburn did take down Arkansas. Granted, it was on the Plains. On Sunday, October 8th, 2-1, when Arkansas was then ranked 6th. So it's Auburn's fault that they got knocked out of the rankings. I'm sure Karen Hoppa is not sorry, and she shouldn't be. So this team making a little bit more noise already in the tournament than we thought they might, considering they were a bubble team. Who knows? Maybe there's a little bit of Auburn magic there. And obviously winning that game regulation against Tennessee keeps the bodies healthy. So that's kind of big. So moving forward, Auburn volleyball did defeat Alabama 3-1. On Sunday morning. Sorry, I can't remember. Yeah, I almost said Saturday morning, which is just not true. That group is course corrected. And for those, this is just a fun little tidbit. I'm going to touch on volleyball here. Alabama's winless in the SEC, guys. Just thought y'all would find that fun. I don't think that Auburn fans really care. I know I don't what sport it is. When Alabama's winless in anything, it's pretty funny. So Auburn's still very much in the mix for kind of a sleeper dark horse that could win, not win, but compete for the SEC. And certainly will make another NCAA appearance. This group had to go through a little rough patch, just like any team that plays a lot of games. And they're so back. Brent Crouch and company they're so back. I need you to put the word out. They're back up.
Everything's cool. Confirmed.
Allegedly.
Equestrian just on a roll as well. Auburn just doing everything in their power to try to get revenge on the winless season that Auburn had in athletics last year against Alabama. Starting off on a high note with volleyball, and did soccer beat Alabama? Or am I blanking on that? I don't think they did.
Soccer lost Alabama 1-2.
There you go. And then Auburn Equestrian beat South Carolina on the 27th as well. Need to add that in there. All around, Auburn athletics.
Good weekend for Auburn.
Great
good
weekend for Auburn.
athletics. So looking to duplicate that again this week. We'll tell you guys where to be as we always do on our pregame show. We'll tell you guys where to hang out this weekend in Auburn. If you're around town or if you're traveling to Vanderbilt, we really can't help you anything other than a football game, but we can tell you where else to be on the plains. We'll talk about that later in the week. Until then, make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring the bell right here on the College Loop. We certainly appreciate all of your feedback. We appreciate all of your hot takes. We'd like to feature them. We'd like to discuss them. And I promise if you comment on it, we screenshot it. We talk about it in our group chat. So whether that's good, bad, or a bit different, I just want you to know that they are being discussed. And we do see them. We do read them. And when you guys bring up good takes, we talk about them. We really do. And we try to implement those on the show here as well. So we appreciate you guys for continuing to make this an interactive culture and building this community that we could not do without you. If you want to pick up your very own College Loop or co-branded Feelin' Loopy t-shirt, I cannot speak on the ad reads today. It comes in 5 colorways. It is in our bio. It was in the description, but it's also in our bio on Instagram. I think it's on the link, right? It's on the link tree. They call it that?
I'm gonna go check, but I don't think I've done it.
I think Colin put it on a link tree, but if he didn't, then whatever. We'll make it accessible.
We'll put it on there.
Accessible to you guys any way you guys want to purchase it. That's $25 on thewarreport.com. You don't have to go to the search bar. You can just type it in or click on the link from the description in any way that you're watching the show. Like, subscribe, 5-star, smiley face, thumbs up for wherever you guys are listening to it. Thank you guys for continuing to do that and continuing to give us support. Follow us subscribe to us here on YouTube so we can get to 700 and feed Colin again. I'm Harrison Tarr, @Harrison Tarr on the Bird app. If you want to come hang out, share your hot takes with me. Just don't tell me what to do in my personal life and we'll be cool. I'll have no beef with you and you won't get banned. So other than that, we're in good shape. I'm Harrison Tarr on all social medias. Dylan, let's get out of here, my man.
Of course, I'm Dylan Larck @YouWillAtink on Twitter/X. Wherever you type in, it redirects. Nice little rhyme there. I dabble in my free time. Of course, you have it on Instagram as well @Dylan Larck @DYLANLARCK. And of course, you have us right here on the College Loop, where you should like, comment, subscribe, leave your thoughts on the quarterback situation, go ahead and leave your predictions for the Vanderbilt game. I'll write them down and make sure we can keep a track of those so y'all can get your own shout outs throughout the season. We'll also be doing this through basketball as well. So probably have to do like weekly, like just go make your picks for the week and just get them in while you can. And of course, you have every other platform as well. Twitter/X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works. I did post on TikTok yesterday.
I know it was hilarious. I reposted it today.
It was. I really enjoyed making that. CapCut finally putting new stuff in there. I have a draft ready to go today as this comes out. So I'm hoping to get more content out to y'all, just so we can build this College Loop family, and of course build the War Rapport family as well. Go check them out as well. War Rapport, Up Tempo, Auburn Express.
Drop in the comments what you think the War Rapport agenda is.
Drop in the comments who has the best beard out of the War Rapport podcast network. Tarr got eliminated from the conversation.
Don't ever angry shave. That's my tip of the day.
So I mean, you got me, Ike, B. Will, Dustin.
I'll be back next week. I mean, like I have stubble already, and I shaved last night.
Blake's got a beard going on.
Yeah, Blake does have a beard going on. I think he's got some stubble going on. He needs to clean that up.
And I believe Caesar's got a beard. So you got like 6 options to choose from. You know who to go with.
I'll be back next week, guys. Y'all can
your boy the Tank. You gotta pick your boy the Tank.
I'll have a beard again soon.
No, you've been eliminated from the next week. It won't be that question. But of course, with all of that being said, this has been the College Loop podcast.